Hello and welcome to another episode of Breaking Geek Radio, the podcast, the premier podcast of LRM Online. I'm your host, Brandon Jones, and with me this week is the remainder of the Triforce of Geekdom, Tanya Watson and Nick Dahl. How's it going, guys?
Hello.
Howdy.
And we're also joined this week by LRM Editor-in-Chief Joseph Jammer Medina. What's going on?
I have things to say, and I can't wait to say them.
And he has things to say about the movie that we're going to be discussing this week, Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw.
Best title ever.
I'm dealing with the future of the planet. I'm the necessary shock to the system. I am human evolutionary change. Bulletproof. Superhuman.
Who the hell are you?
Bad guy.
The mission has been compromised. We need help.
Our target's name is Brixton. He's a ghost. We're gonna need the best trackers in the business. Luke Hobbs.
I'm what you call an ice-cold can of whoop-ass.
Career lawman. Always gets his guy. We're gonna need to operate outside the system. Deckard Shaw.
I'm what you might call a champagne problem.
Rogue former MI6 agent. Doesn't play well with others. If we stand a chance against Brixton, you guys have to work together.
No way. This guy's a real ass.
The movie that we're discussing this week has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 67%. It has an IMDb score of 7.2% and a cinema score of A-, which is actually the highest cinema score in the history of the franchise, which was surprising to me.
What?
Yeah. This film is currently
Let him
speeding
give the
towards
backup
a
before you
$60
freak
million
out.
opening.
Now talking to
Sorry.
Nick, he's already freaking out. Just let him give the
That's me. That was me.
That was Jammer. I was
Can
actually
you all
smiling.
restrain yourselves for a bit so
Yeah, I'm
you can
sorry.
give the...
No one can believe it. So this film is speeding towards a $60 million opening. And I guess the first question I have for you guys is, did you guys get the 10-cent trailer in front of your screening?
No, I didn't. I was really
I read about
disappointed because I
after.
wanted.
Okay, good.
It's not
I
10
was
cent.
gonna
It's
be
Tenet.
really
It's
upset.
Tenet.
Tenet. I'm sorry.
Maybe it's
Tenet.
an
David
IMAX
Tennant.
or big format thing.
Big format thing. All right.
Maybe, because I didn't have it, and you guys didn't have it.
Nope.
No.
I read about afterwards, and I was upset.
I'm in Germany. I don't get good things here, except for, democracy and
Ice
no
cream.
Nazis, which is weird. So, yeah, I was really surprised when I heard that, and the fact that it's not streaming online just hurts. That's really upsetting. But
That's all right. We'll get it eventually. It's from the sound of it. It doesn't really reveal much of anything.
I don't care. I'm an American, and I want it now.
All right. It's fair.
So, that said, I guess we're going to have to talk about Hobbs and Shaw. So, let's start with our overall non-spoiler impressions as the super special guest. Jammer, why don't you go first?
So, Hobbs, I really wanted to like this movie. I love all the people involved. I love David Leitch. I love The Rock. I like Jason Statham. I like, who else is in this movie? Idris Elba.
man.
Idris Elba, he's great.
Vanessa Kirby.
Yeah, but I actually had
Helen
not heard of
Mirren.
her until this movie. Helen Mirren, like all those people. Great talent involved. But
Vanessa Kirby, she was in the last Mission Impossible movie.
oh, was that her?
White Widow.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah,
have
that
to
was
know.
her.
Yeah, you
Okay,
have to
oh,
know that,
calm
because
down.
otherwise Nick will cut you.
All right, my
Yeah,
bad.
I already got
I'm
my
trying to
knife.
help you out.
Okay, anyway, my point is, it was not good for me. I did not like it. It was very, very. It was embarrassing to watch almost at times, and it was. It made me like The Rock less. It just felt so hammy. What it was is, yeah, I just didn't like it. I can delve more into it, but I'll let you guys talk. It was not a good experience. It was one of the weaker Fast and Furious movies since Tokyo Drift. Probably the weakest since Tokyo Drift, actually. And it sucks because there was so much potential there, but it just did not live up to it. But clearly I'm fucking wrong because everyone else seems to like it online.
Here's the worst part. You coerced and cajoled your wife to go see this movie. And unless she loved it, you've burned that shit.
I really
and, like,
did.
Every time you say, like, let's go to the movie, she will say, fuck you, Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah.
Like, you just...
Yeah.
It'll take years
Didn't you
Yes.
do that?
to watch
It?
that staying out.
Like you're basically on strike 3.
What's strike one?
It.
Oh yeah, that was but that was a good
Well,
movie.
But
That's
it is a
okay.
good movie.
She
Yeah, but
doesn't like
she-
horror, and he was supposed to warn her before the gore, and he didn't.
Well, it was the task that was impossible, but it was the only way I convinced her to go. I told her that I would squeeze her hand before any jump scare, but there were so many of them that I missed them. I missed a lot of them.
She just
Yeah,
squeezed
you
her
done
hand the
fucked
whole
up, dog.
movie.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was. She's flipping me off right now. She's in the room. She's not hearing this, but she's hearing me speak, so she knows what we're
She
talking
understands, yeah.
about. Yeah.
All that said, Tanya,
I didn't see it.
non-spoiler impressions.
I didn't see it. I'm just here for moral support.
Oh, you didn't see
Oh, you
it?
didn't see it?
No,
Okay.
my
Well,
schedule
said
exploded
that.
before I could get to
Well-
it, but now I'm thinking, no.
Well, good.
Gotta check it
Good.
out.
You're still there, and you're still living a happier life than I am, having seen the movie.
I'm still 0 for 8 for seeing Fast and Furious movies. This was the 8th one, right? Or the-
Yeah.
No, this is the ninth
ninth.
one.
That's
Ninth.
the
I'm,
ninth.
I'm
the
0
ninth
for
one.
9. This was supposed to be the first one, and my schedule exploded. So now I'm just
Well,
like,
so
listen,
here's the... If there is one to miss, this is
it's this
it.
one.
This is it.
the one.
Oh no,
This is the one
Tokyo
we
Drift.
like.
Tokyo Drift is still worse.
No, Tokyo Drift has so much more merit than this one. Is it? Well, I'll explain it when I get to my impressions. But Nick, you do yours.
Okay, so, well, Jammer's story reminds me of me bringing a girlfriend last summer to see, not Mission Impossible, Jurassic Park.
Jurassic
like the
World.
worst one.
Although I
Jurassic
do want to
World
see that
Fallen
movie
Kingdom.
now.
I mean,
Mission
that's
Impossible, Jurassic Park.
I would definitely see that. Well,
Jurassic
that's-
World: Fallen Kingdom is like Jurassic Park compared to Hobbs and Shaw. Did that
Yes.
confuse everyone?
I would agree with that. Because I genuinely did like the first one. I thought it was like it's popcorn, but I could watch it. The
No, I'm
second
saying
one, I thought-
Fallen Kingdom is
Yeah.
like Jurassic Park.
No.
when compared
I'm
to Hobbs
saying
that
and
much
Shaw.
better than
I'm
Hobbs and
agreeing
Shaw?
with you. I'm saying that Fallen Kingdom is complete dog shit as compared to Jurassic
Yeah.
World.
Yes,
And I enjoy it and I watch it and it's popcorn and it's fun.
agreed.
But the second one, I just absolutely look. With the exception of the opening of that movie, which I thought was really, really good, I hate everything about it.
Yeah, there was actually I was on board with some of the parts of the movie, but then she was just like, "They're like me." I'm like, "Oh, fuck off, little girl," and that pretty much tainted everything.
Hey, we're on to a different. We're not on to Universal's other biggest franchise.
That's fair.
Oh God.
I'm gonna give my thoughts. I've only seen Too Fast, Too Furious, and Fast 5. I love Fast 5. I saw Too Fast, Too Furious in theaters as a kid.
For the record, I've seen all of them. So, anyways,
I know. I was quite a parent. I was excited for this because it's a buddy cop movie, and you know The Rock and Idris Elba or however you pronounce his name, all that stuff, great. Yeah, I would have left several times if I didn't have to do this podcast. Here's why. The main
Name
reason
one.
why-
What's one of the scenes where you got up out of the seat and were like, fuck.
Well, the main
podcast.
time, there were times before this. The main time is when I realized, since I'd seen the trailer, there was a whole third act left after the
right?
testing
It
facility.
was exhausting.
And I was like, oh my god, we have to go into that scene still? And you know how it's going to end based on the trailer, exactly. Like, I knew every shot that was coming.
Yeah, it goes through each beat in the trailer. Like, literally,
Yeah.
this is the first act. This is the first half of the second act. This is the end of the second act, and this is the
This
third
is
act.
the final chase scene. This is the final fight. But I think my main disappointment with it is if it was worse, it'd be more fun. It wasn't bad enough to be fun.
I don't
It
know
was
if I
just
agree with that.
boring
I don't know if I believe
and
in
following the formula I felt happened. Like, it's following the buddy cop formula, and the dialogue's subpar, but it's not like cheesily bad. It's just like, oh, okay.
I don't know. There are some parts where I
There was
think
a lot
it
of
did.
cheese in
There
there.
was a lot of cheese in there. Like I'll dive into it later because some of the stuff I want to say is semi-spoiler. But
I have a lot of
Yeah.
spoiler stuff to say. So.
Okay. So, Nick, are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. So my overall impression, this movie was like when your dad tries to make dinner, and he definitely used all the same ingredients that your mom made, and it generally remembers a thing that it generally resembles the thing that she makes, but it tastes terrible, and it's because he used too much seasoning, and that seasoning is crap.
My dad taught my mom to cook.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so not in Tanya's household.
Not
In
in
my
New Orleans.
household. Yeah. In my house, my mom is the cook. And so let's say parent. When a parent cooks and the other one tries to be like, no, I can do that. and they try and do the same thing. And this movie definitely looks like a Fast and Furious movie. It sounds like a Fast and Furious movie, but it is just no good. And, after seeing the trailer, I was really worried, just like you guys, that I had seen everything in this movie that it had to offer. And,
You
fears
did.
founded. Yeah, fears founded. So good job, guys, showing me the entire movie. Which is funny because I think I remember, the thing that makes me happy about this is I remember Jammer talking to you. I was like, they just showed the whole fucking movie. And you were like, it might be all right. And I was like, I don't know about that. But the fact that you don't like it, perfect. That almost makes it worth it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, I was wrong. Like, very clearly, they showed all the beats of the movie through those trailers. Like, through 3 trailers. There was like 3 minute long trailers. Who does that ever?
Yeah. Speaking of three things, so let's move off into spoilers. And so
Spoilers.
there you have it. Yeah, there you guys have it. Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw. Nobody here recommends it. How does this movie have 3 end scenes?
What do you mean?
It's
post-credit scenes.
3 post-credit scenes.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. I just read about them because I thought they said there was one at the very end. But according to the thing I read, they were all ones I saw, and I didn't stay till the very end.
Yeah, I didn't stay till the very end either because I was like, I don't want to.
I saw the first one, and I was like, all right, I'm done.
So
The best one
first one was the Ryan
best
Reynolds
cameo.
one.
Yeah, no, it wasn't the first one Helen Mirren?
No.
That was the end of the movie.
As the credits are rolling.
Okay, because the Ryan Reynolds one was my favorite, and actually he was the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
Was
I
he?
think-
Him and
Yeah.
Kevin Hart.
No.
They
No, he
weren't.
wasn't.
they
Let's
were
be
no
real.
reason they should
This
fit in
was-
there,
this
but
is
I
a
just felt
movie-
like Deadpool.
This was a movie with a lot of not so good parts. So, like, that's not a high bar to raise. Like, but
So the thing is, all of his stuff were a bunch of shit-ass Game of Thrones references. And I was
By the
like,
way,
I don't want to think about that one.
the people in front of us got Game of Thrones spoiled by this movie, which is
I read an
hilarious.
article about that. If you're not caught up, though, come on.
That's awesome. Yeah, you
You're not a
can't.
real
So
fan.
that show has
This
been
made
off the air
months
for
later.
like what, a month, 2 months now?
Yeah.
I
Past
feel
spoiler
like
period.
it's done, right? It's done. You can't really be that big of a fan.
To be
of
fair,
something
I don't mind. I can understand people being upset by headlines and stuff. Actually, no, I could. Try this again. I think the movie is a low blow because you don't expect it to come from there. You stay off of Game of Thrones websites because, for certain things, or you stop following Game of Thrones Twitter accounts because of that. But then you don't expect
you
to
got
see in
spoiled
Hobbs
by
and
a
fucking
terrible
Shaw.
ass
It ended in
Well, look.
April, and we're in August. I think that's
Yes.
yeah.
Well, and here's
I
the other
agree
thing.
with
No,
you.
no, it
Dumb
didn't finish in
enough to
April.
see
It
this
finished
movie?
in June.
It
If
finished.
you're dumb enough to see this
Huh?
movie, you deserve the spoilers.
Didn't it finish in June? No,
No.
it finished in May, huh?
Yeah.
No, yeah, you're right. May. It was after Endgame.
Here's
Yeah,
the
right
thing.
after Endgame.
I'll give you
The
60
8th
days.
final season. Oh, it started on the 8th. Right. Series finale May 19th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's still a long time.
If you're 60 days past the end of the show, then all bets are off. Right?
That's
you can't
fair.
be that big of a fan to be upset at spoilers 60 days out.
But what if you just discovered it and then you start to love it? I don't know why I'm defending
off.
this.
I really
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
This is not the hill to die
That's
on.
not
No,
one
this
of
is-
the
I'm not gonna die on
Defending the
parts of
Game
the
of
movie.
Thrones jokes.
So here's what disappointed me. You could see glimpses of competence in this movie.
Yep.
I liked sort of the emotional signpost they were trying to put for this movie. The thing with Hobbs and his sisters falling out, and how they kind of tie back into his
Shaw.
backstory in the series. Excuse me, Shaw.
Shaw.
And then Hobbs and his family. Like, I like the stuff that they were trying to do emotionally to make this better than just a stupid action movie. But at the end of the day, they focused so much on the action and the plot that by the time it came to come around to those emotional signposts, they just had to say it. This is how I feel. This is what we need. This is this. This is that. Because they didn't have time to actually bring nuance into the story or into the characters' emotions. So yeah, they wasted all of their runtime real estate on mindless action scenes.
So one of the first things that I wrote for LRM was a story about when this movie got announced, and it was the fact that I didn't know that I would be on board because I didn't like how they were doing the heel turn with Shaw.
For Han.
Yeah, it really bothered me that him and his brother, murdered Gal Gadot and Han, and they were just like, we're gonna make them heroes now and give them really cool jetpacks. And it's weird that in this movie they kind of addressed and kind of not resolved it. They addressed it in a way that was satisfying to me, where I thought in a later movie they could fix it. Because he said, I've done things I'm not proud of, things that I have to atone for. I was like, good. I like that you've acknowledged it, and so now let's see what you do with that. Mm-hmm. But to your point, Jammer, like, there was so much other really horrible shit in this movie. Like, I don't care. Somebody could tell me, like, yeah, they stuck the landing with resolving that plot point in the sequel to this movie. I will never see it. Unless I'm still on this podcast and doing a show, I will not see that movie.
I like how I feel like someone gave him a really solid outline of a movie and said, okay, here are the emotional beats we have. Here are the arcs of each character and blah, 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 blah. And then a studio came in and says, no, we need to amp up the extra set pieces and relegate those emotional beats to a minute and a half scenes where The Rock just spouts exposition and tells them how they feel. And at the very end, they have to say aloud, we have to work together, and make it really cheesy. And
they've already learned to work together.
Yeah, they've learned to work together like 3 times over the course of the movie, and
like we have to attack him from different angles.
I liked that, and I wish it wasn't punctuated by them saying that they have to work together.
Especially like that moment would have been so much better if they were still struggling with each other. Mm-hmm. But like for like the last half of the movie, they're working together perfectly.
Yeah, they were screaming at each other, like
they were jumping between vehicles and like. He's like, attach the hooks and all that. They're like, they were already a perfect team. At the end, they're like, okay,
they were defending
now we
each
gotta
other
work
too.
Together. Yeah.
So
because I think that Shaw was defending him to his family.
A regular big dumb action movie, because big dumb action movies are usually heavy on like really dumb exposition.
I'm sorry, you said why is it worse?
Yeah, like what did it do differently where it crossed the line into this is too dumb for a big dumb action movie?
So to me, it wasn't the dumbness. It was almost like Men in Black. So the easy comparison for me, remember we talked about the fact that there were some scenes where the joke just went on for too long?
Yeah.
Like this scene could have been half as long, if not shorter. They did that a lot in this movie. So there's a scene where you watch the trailer where they're yelling at each other and they're like, I'm not working with him, he's an asshole, right? You remember? I don't know if you saw the trailer. Okay. That scene goes on for like 5 times longer than it should.
Yeah, it's funny because you told me that before I saw the movie. So when that scene happened, and like I thought it was going to end after like 15 seconds, I was like, Psh, that wasn't that long, and then it kept going. And then I was like, okay, it's over. And then I was like, okay, that wasn't that, and it kept going. And I was like, okay, so he's right. This thing lasted way too long. Like this movie would have, it felt like they were going too much all in on like the we hate each other dynamic to the point where it was like, yeah, I get it. You guys don't like each other. I get it.
And didn't have a script.
Right, or improving, and they're not maybe as good as improv, which is weird because Jason Statham is an amazing improver, as evidenced by the amazing movie Spy, which you should watch. But yeah, it just wasn't working.
That's what makes it worse. I think that they are both individually hilarious. And I think that even watching him in the previous Fast and Furious movies, the little sparks that they had together were hilarious to watch. But the thing is, you needed someone to say, okay, that's it, we got it.
Yeah.
And they never did that. So in all those other movies, it was always like 60 seconds or less of whatever was happening, and then you just moved on. Here it was just too much.
Let me try to explain to Tanya by also listing a bunch of things I thought were wrong and right about it, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Compared to a normal action film. Okay, so was not much right about, but I noticed at least 3 times where it directly referenced Mission Impossible franchise. I only remember 2 of them. The plot is the plot of Mission Impossible 2.
I mean, the plot is generic action movie. The plot is
I think he's right.
Take the virus.
Yeah, he's right. I'm going to stick it in my body. Yeah, he's right.
You have to take me to get the virus. Yeah. And it's not at the beginning, not halfway through, but the same deal where it's like, oh, if you want the virus, you have to kidnap me. So everyone's trying to kidnap her. And then the ending helicopter thing reminded me so much of Fallout in a worse version of it. Where it's like, helicopter crash, everyone survived, let's fight on a mountainside.
Well, the helicopter part mixed with Civil War when Captain America is stopping the helicopter from taking off.
My wife said that. My wife called that out.
Oh my god, I hated that so much, and here's the reason why. Idris Elba, like they made a big deal of him being like this super soldier. He's Black Superman, all this other stuff. If The Rock can stop a helicopter from fucking taking off, then how is Idris Elba Superman if he can't beat him? Or like there's just there is nothing that separates them at all. He's just as strong.
Nuh-uh, because he had to fight with Jason Statham to beat him. I know. I'm not dying on this hill. I'm just fucking with you. That's
the
not.
Other things.
Yeah.
It's just like my other favorite genre, besides Mission Impossible being its own ultimate genre, is
God damn it, I hate you.
Jesus Christ.
buddy cop movies. Obviously, one of my
Yep.
favorites.
That actually is a genre, Nick.
Yeah.
Good job.
I know. That was actually it's a subgenre.
No, you know that Mission
Action would be
Impossible
the
is
genre.
in a genre, right?
I know that. I was joking. I was telling jokes. No, but I mean, they hit all those beats, but like basically any buddy cop movie made since Rush Hour 2, except for Hot Fuzz. It was just like, it's generic and broken, where it's like, oh, we hate each other. Like, oh, now we're friends and we work together. And like we said, there's that they decided to work together after they'd been working together. And it's just that none of the dialogue was funny or inspired.
Mm-mm.
Like, it was all so flat. And one other thing, I saw a meme about before I even saw the movie. I was like, oh, damn right. We're like, they're flashing back to Vanessa Kirby and Jason Statham being kids at the same time.
I like
and it's
those.
like, dude, she's 31 years old and you're like 50.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
She's my age. She's 31. And they're like a few years apart, and they don't even look the same age. It's like even close to the same age as adults.
That's
Wait,
funny.
speaking of which, I have a question. Where was
Luke Evans?
I
I
can't
agree. Where was
yeah,
he? Yeah. I thought the same
never
thing.
even referenced.
Yeah.
I don't even know who he was
His
in the
brother.
other
Exactly.
episode.
He has a
Oh, I
brother.
thought he died or something. I
No,
don't know the
so
history.
okay, let me talk. So basically, in Fast 6, he was the villain, and he killed Gal Gadot, or he was the reason that she died. And then he was put into a coma at the end of it. Jason Statham's character gets revenge on the Fast Furious group in 7,
Family.
or tries to get revenge.
Fast Furious family.
And then they beat him. However, in Fate of the Furious, at the very end, Luke Evans comes out of a coma and he helps Jason Statham and the rest of the Fast crew fight together against the main baddies.
He's working for another project.
You know, yeah, but they could at least reference him, because one of the things that Helen Mirren was talking about was like, oh, I just want to see my kids again and everybody be happy as a family, and just like nothing at
Well,
all.
I mean, it worked for me. I would have been confused. I'm like, who is this guy?
Well, here's the funny thing about that. There is a line in the movie that is slightly confusing, and I think I understand it, but I just need someone to confirm it.
Okay.
There's a line where Jason Statham said, "You forced me to kill my own brother."
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, but I hadn't seen the others.
No, I think he was talking about Idris Elba's character, where you forced me to kill you. You were my brother, and I'm not going to do it again.
Oh.
So that's what I thought. It still seemed weird and dumb.
It is confusing because I was confused. I had to think about it, and then my wife asked me after the fact, "Is this?" I didn't understand that, and then I said, "I think it's this." So yeah, I agree. It's confusing.
You just have to settle on this thing. It's like that. I guess. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's frustrating because, like I said, there are glimpses of a cohesive and compelling story somewhere in here. They just needed to cut out 15 minutes of action scenes just so they can make it to punctuate it.
that.
And they had to cut out. Okay, they need to cut out a lot of action scenes, and they need to cut out roughly half of the banter between the two, and add in more of that extra character flavor. And I think we would have had something really interesting. As a plus, I think this movie had some of the better action set pieces of any of them, as far as how well they were directed. Visually.
It looked fake as hell, but Idris Elba on the bike was actually really cool.
Yeah, some of
That
that
was my
stuff was
favorite.
cool.
I
The
love the
bike could
dog.
do.
Or I
It
love
was
the
awesome.
the bike.
It felt more impactful, because the thing about the Fast and Furious I like, but they always feel really hollow and floaty when it comes to the action scenes, whereas these ones felt a little bit more grounded and impactful to me.
Ooh, so
I don't
I've
know.
only seen Aquaman with no sound. Should I just watch Hobbs and Shaw with no sound?
No.
What? No, you should definitely
That's
watch
why I watched
Aquaman
the
with
core.
sound.
The core I riff tracked without ever seeing it.
Was it on an
With a
airplane?
friend.
Yeah.
No, it's
You're talking about me or him?
No, Tanya.
Yeah, I was on an
Oh.
airplane, and so I watched the
Okay.
whole thing and just didn't get the headphones. And I was like, oh, I get the gist of this. This is nice.
So you didn't get to feel the impact with the octopus playing the drums though. You missed that whole impact.
Wait, there's that in there?
Yeah.
So it's a rip-off of Ant-Man.
What?
What?
There's an ant
No,
playing
that's
the drums.
that's a character from the comic books.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, DC ripping off Marvel all the time. I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna
Dark
hang up
Seed
on Nick now.
Thanos.
So Hobbs and Shaw wouldn't even be good with no sound on.
No.
No.
It might be better.
Just watch the trailers again.
It probably would. Yeah, just watch that. That is an A+ idea. Watch
Yeah.
the trailer. You got
Watch
it.
the trailer.
You
It
got
gives
it.
you everything you want. It got me
Short
so
film.
excited for this.
Okay.
It's really bad. Like, this movie it's frustrating. Like I said, it made me like The Rock a lot less. And I like The Rock, generally speaking. But in this one, I was
Yeah,
just
me
like,
too.
oh man, there's so much dick measuring in this to the point where I'm like, okay, I get it. You guys both have big dicks. I don't care. Or where they say these lines that are supposed to be funny, but they're just cringy. They're total dad humor stuff.
You know, the one time that I did like laugh out loud was when they were on the airplane and Jason Statham said, "Do I look dumb to you?" He was like, "Yes, of course you look dumb to me."
Yeah,
like,
but that was also in the
made
trailer.
Me laugh. Was it?
Yeah, it was in one of the trailers.
Maybe I missed it. I think I did not watch all of the trailers for this.
Yeah, I do. They really give away literally all of the best jokes in it. Like,
Okay.
For
and
sure.
action. Like, the end is there with them hooking the stuff to the helicopter, and then the cliff fights all in the most recent trailer.
Yep.
I like that slow motion cliff fight though. I thought that was pretty cool the way it looked.
I sort of
me
did.
of Fallout that did it better.
It did it differently, Nick. It did it completely differently. I'm just saying from an action, from the way it was portrayed in sort of slow motion and like the water falling off of them, I thought it was pretty cool looking.
Okay, so here's a question. Who do you guys think is the ultimate bad guy? So Idris Elba in the movie is working for a disembodied voice. Who is that?
Robot Han.
Robot Han.
I like that.
I have no idea, because you can hear the real voice for a second or two, but I haven't seen the other movies, so I don't know if it was something from the other movies. But, like, they say they're going to wrap it up over the course of a few movies, the Han stuff. So I'm like, Robot Han.
I was frustrated that they didn't reveal who it was. I feel like they
Why?
should have given us that. Because they should have given us at least... I want to know who's pulling the strings.
Oh, but that's why you come back for more.
I don't want to come back for more. I just want to know, Nick.
It'll be there because you're like, I need to know. I'm not.
You know,
gonna
the
read
sad
the
thing is
spoiler
you're
online.
right. I'll go by myself next time.
I went by myself.
Because I know I can't rely on reviews or cinema scores anymore or audience scores because they're all fucking wrong. They're all saying, "Oh yeah, 67% of Rotten Tomatoes." So 67% of critics recommend this movie. I don't know how.
Well, I'm surprised that you said that it was better than Tokyo Drift. I would put this dead last. I have seen all of these movies multiple times, like even 2. I think 2 for me is the weakest. And I've seen that movie multiple times because I think there's some merit to it.
Yeah.
And I would never watch this movie again. There's nothing about it that would make me want to see it again.
That was going to be my
And
next
I think
question,
even
like,
3.
where is it ranked for everybody?
It's second to last for me.
I'm actually surprised. I assumed the franchise was so bad that this one, even being bad, would be the best.
No.
Like, I like this one better than Fast 5 or Too Fast, Too Furious.
You said you did?
I'd like it better, yeah, because they strip away all the characters I don't care about. Like,
well, of course you don't care about them. You haven't seen any of the. You haven't seen any of the movies.
Yeah, you
Why
have to
would
see
you
it
care
from the
about them?
beginning.
Well, I don't care about the. I don't know. It's like,
You were literally about to say.
In it.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Well, one of the other reasons why I think I like 3 more now is because they did the Endgame thing. Oh, well, Endgame did this thing where they took a movie that people didn't like and they made it more relevant.
Like
so
Thor
in
2?
Avengers, they took Thor 2, and they did another one too.
Sick of your Thor 2 hate. Fucking haters, all of you. I said I'm tired of everybody's Thor 2 hate.
That's fair.
I didn't hate it,
only
but
the
generally
second worst
people don't
MCU
like
movie.
it. And there were 2 movies in that they made more relevant based on the plot of this movie. With Fast and Furious, they took 3, and it is the through line for everything all the way up to 7. Because Han is a character in them, and if you haven't seen it, if you didn't like it, you don't understand it. If you didn't like it, then you won't really understand where Jason Statham comes from and kills Han when they do that reveal in 6?
7.
Is it 7?
I think it's 7. Or maybe it's at the end of 6.
It's the end of 6.
Yeah, the end of 6.
It's the end of 6. It's the stinger.
Yeah.
And so they did the thing where they made this movie that a lot of people didn't like and made it more relevant, which I thought was cool because I did like it.
I do like the fact that they made the timelines very confusing in doing that. But and how you go to Fast and Furious 7, all of a sudden Lucas Black is like, he looks like a 50-year-old as opposed to like a 20-year-old. Like that guy did not age very well at all between those movies. No one knows what I'm talking about who hasn't seen these movies.
No.
Nick has
Yeah,
no
I know
idea what I'm talking
It's
about.
like, wait, what?
People.
So
The director's from Deadpool 2, right?
Yeah.
David Leitch, yeah.
And then the other FBI agent was Peter, right? I can't remember the comedian's name.
Kevin Hart?
No, remember how there was the FBI agent working with Ryan Reynolds?
Right.
Isn't
Yeah.
Mulaney? Isn't that the same No, not Mulaney, but yeah, he's a comedian. Isn't that the same guy who plays Peter?
Who's Peter? Peter?
Who are we
What?
talking about?
Peter in X-Force. think. Yeah, it was that.
Oh, was that
I was
him?
like, Deadpool 2 wink. I'm fairly certain it was him without the extra weight and the mustache.
It may have been.
Which-
I didn't recognize it. The other guy
Which
who
scene was this?
The other guy who Ryan Reynolds was like, I got a guy who's talking with Shaw, and like,
Oh,
you're gonna love him or
right.
whatever.
the guy who got Jason Statham. He's like, my guy's
Yeah.
So
good.
crazy. I'm already forgetting this movie.
Not Kevin Hart. I obviously know who
Yeah,
Kevin
I know what you're
Hart
talking about.
is.
You're talking about, my guy's gonna kick this. Yeah.
So to be
Outside
clear,
of
for
that.
those who don't know, what happens is that they Jason Statham's character and The Rock's character are both recruited. You have The Rock's character recruited by Deadpool, and then you
Yeah,
have
not even Ryan Reynolds. It is
Ryan
Deadpool.
Reynolds. He's basically Deadpool.
Yeah, he's
and
playing
then
Deadpool.
and then you have the Jason Statham's character being recruited by another FBI guy, and they have a fun little conversation where it's just like they have a split screen. They're like, "Oh, what'd your guy say? My guy's good," and he goes like, "No, my guy's great." Blah blah blah, and it's kind of this fun little scene. I actually like that scene.
No,
I liked it.
could've
I thought it
cut
was
all
funny.
that out. Take it
I liked
all out.
I thought it was
Cut
goofy
out.
and fun.
We gotta
Okay.
get this movie sub 2 hours. Take it out.
That's fair.
All of it except for that.
What's
All
that?
of it
Yeah.
except for Ryan Reynolds.
I know you like Ryan Reynolds. It seemed probably too goofy and over the top and too winky for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I just didn't like the things he was saying. I didn't care about the Game of Thrones stuff and the jokes that he was telling, and nothing that he said was funny to me.
Some of the stuff he did was pretty funny. Where he said, "Me and your dad are best friends," and then he took out the necklace and it had half of like best friends necklace.
Oh no, the tattoo.
And then the other tattoo, he's like, "Oh yeah, well then how did I get this?" And he showed like he has the same tattoo as The
He
Rock.
had his shirt open the rest
Yeah.
of the scene.
It was fun. I thought that was funny.
I think it was. Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't work for me. What'd you guys think of the Kevin Hart cameos?
It felt weird, but I also enjoyed those a lot.
Yeah, same here. It felt weird, but in a movie full of shit, it was something that helped entertain me, even if it felt completely out of place.
Especially in a buddy cop movie. I don't know. It's kind of not cameo. That's kind of character you sometimes expect in a buddy cop movie. It's almost like Joe Pesci in Lethal Weapon 2 and 3, where he's like, I want to be part of the group. You know, guys? Like, we can do a 3 thing. So, I don't know. I actually appreciate it more now that I think of Joe Pesci.
Actually, yeah, you made it better in retrospect. And actually, you made me want to see a Hobbs and Shaw movie where it's him and
He's the Joe Pesci.
where there's also Kevin Hart, and then there's also Ryan Reynolds. They basically create their own fast crew.
No, they are doing that.
Are they doing that? Is that what they're doing with
the
all
Rock
four of those
said
guys?
the post-credit sequences set up the new team. And
Okay.
Ryan Reynolds is in one of the post-credit sequences, and Helen Mirren's in another one. And I assume
Helen
they
Mirren,
bring
that
in
was not a
Kevin Hart,
post-credit
too.
sequence. That was just the end of the movie, wasn't it? The Helen Mirren
Yeah.
scene where they're going to break her out. That was just the end of the movie. That wasn't a post-credit scene.
Right. Well, he said the post-credit scene set up a new team, and so I guess all we saw was Ryan.
Oh, also the thing I thought was really funny, Ryan Reynolds said, where he talked about how a guy was stabbed with a brick. He's like, "Do you know how hard it is to stab someone with a brick?" I thought that was
I like
hilarious.
Well, you know what's funny about that? So one of the post-credit scenes is he actually does that.
Yeah, he
And then
stabs him with
says,
a brick.
Oh, it's not as hard as I thought it was.
Oh, I missed that. I was too busy trying to not get out of the theater, even though I didn't want to. I was staying very begrudgingly by the end, I must say. And I want to point out something. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say one of the things I was going to say I'm kind of tired of bashing this movie, and I did want to highlight one of the things I did like. I thought that Vanessa Kirby was really enjoyable in this movie. Like Rebecca Ferguson level of like. It's funny. She jumped in the middle of their fights so much that it was like, yeah, I need more of that. I need somebody to stop whatever bullshit they're doing so we can move on with the rest of this movie. So she got A+ for all of that.
Maybe that was my other Mission Impossible comparison. Because, yeah, she reminded me of Isla Faust, played by Rebecca Ferguson, the actually skilled FBI, MI6 agent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything that she did that annoyed me or bothered me. I thought she was perfectly great throughout the whole
She was
movie.
really good.
Yeah,
She's
like,
acting in a different movie than the rest of them.
right.
The only thing that happened that was annoying wasn't her fault. So again, going back to this glass cubicle, she beats the shit out of a dude in a glass cubicle, and it's like the cubicle is made out of glass. So why isn't anybody stopping this dude
And The
from
Rock
getting
doesn't
beat
hear it.
down? Yeah, he doesn't hear
She's
it.
slamming him
guy's
against
getting-
the glass right behind him.
Yeah, and everybody else is just doing nothing. Nobody notices until The Rock starts running towards the glass. Then you can see people in the background like, oh, we got to stop this thing from happening. Like, where were you guys before this guy almost got shot in the face?
Yeah. Can we talk about one thing? Actually, we're going to talk about
what's
it.
up?
So, randomly so I'm going to set the stage for Tanya because unfortunately we're not making a lot of sense to her. So near the end of the movie, they are in Samoa and they decide to put up sort of traps and barricades and stuff around as Idris Elba approaches, and they say two things. First of all, when they could disable their guns, which are like electronic activated and stuff. So they're able to disable them for 6 minutes. Okay, so that gives them an opportunity to fight them with their ancient Samoa weapons. Okay, which I thought was clever. Like I'm on board with that idea. I thought it was cool. And they show up. It's nighttime, dark, pitch is night. And,
I noticed that.
Yeah, right. And then literally, like, they start fighting.
Yeah.
They start fighting, and then, like, between one shot, it's pitch black, and then it switches. The sky is clearly blue. It is clearly sunny, except they put a shitty filter over it. And then over the course of, like, 20 seconds, as they cut between the scenes, it gets brighter and brighter and brighter. And it's like, oh, it's daytime. I'm like, okay, is the implication that, like, understandably, it was dawn. Okay, I'll give it that. But is the implication that they've been fighting for a long time? And then they keep fighting.
7 minutes.
And then they go on that long-ass chase scene, and it's during that chase scene that the time runs out. I'm like,
6 minutes is up.
Yeah, that was like the longest 6 minutes ever, and it was really bad. I was very distracted and confused.
I couldn't decide why. When I was watching it, I'm like, did they just do that so the fire would look cooler at night? But then I'm like, but there's more fire later during the day fight. And then by the time they're off the cliff, it's dark and it's raining again.
Oh, well, they don't. If you were paying attention, Nick, you would see that they had a storm brewing in the background the entire time.
Yeah, but even then, the daytime thing, I was trying to decide what the effect was.
No. It was not. It was in the distance.
But then suddenly it was there.
Yeah, then suddenly it was there.
No,
so over the course,
you couldn't explain like the darkness night with like cloud cast.
No,
like
the second time maybe.
No,
definitely
it's straight up night.
The first time,
wow.
It looks like midnight the first time.
So like we're to expect that over the course of like 6 or 7 minutes, it went from pitch black to really bright to thunderstormy.
Well, it could have actually been dawn. Like you said, it worked better without the time because they did say that. Jason Statham said it since he used to work with Idris Elba, where he's like, I know he's going to attack at this time, like right in the morning when people aren't ready or whatever. But,
did he say that?
Yeah,
they mentioned dawn. They mentioned dawn. Yeah.
But yeah, then it seemed like they shot the other scene in the complete black just so the fire would look cool going up around them, and then they pulled out of it when there were other cool explosions that would also look cooler at night. So I couldn't decide at all why they set any of it like that dark.
Yeah, it basically it just reeked to me of production realities where it's like it's hard to shoot. It's really difficult to shoot an action scene at the magic hour, the transition between night and day. So they're like, okay, well we're just gonna shoot day for night for several shots, and then it's gonna
I've heard
transition.
Day for night is like the worst possible thing you can do. But
Yep.
like it seems like that's a thing that early filmmakers do because they don't have a choice. It doesn't seem like a big budget movie that can afford The Rock and Jason Statham and Idris Elba would have like a day for night problem. And I would find that insulting. Like I think it's insulting when a movie decides we're sloppy and you're too stupid to catch it and you're just not gonna give a shit. Like that would make me more annoyed for a movie. Like that would add insult to injury for a movie I already didn't like.
Yeah, I was genuinely confused. Like I was like, wait, what's going on? Why is it so bright all of a sudden? Like I just didn't understand. It seemed, yeah, you're right, like totally amateur or like they didn't care enough or something. And I'm like, or like someone, I feel like someone in the script should have said, can we just set this for like, I don't know, noon instead? Like that would have solved so many problems. It would have solved all their problems.
High noon.
Yeah, that would have worked, and that would have been amazing. Actually, no, it would have been fine. Hold on a second. To be clear, it would not have fixed any of the other problems, but it would have been better.
Yeah, because that was like what, the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, that wouldn't have worked. 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Try
more
30.
than
Yeah,
that.
that was like a 30-minute
That movie was
action set
longer than
piece.
I thought.
It's so bad, and I
knew
think
it
that's
felt
what made it
long.
worse. The trailer made it worse because, like you said, Nick, just the fact that you
I know
knew
where we're
that the
headed.
rest of this was coming.
Well, at least I knew it. Whereas, like, as a verse to like me thinking, oh, okay, movie's over, and then jumping to the whole Samoa sequence. May have been worse not knowing it was coming and being like, oh, there's 45 minutes of this movie left.
Yeah.
Because I was braced for that. That's why I almost walked out if I hadn't paid for that and paid for my alcohol and had to do the show.
Yeah.
So wait,
I had like a double Jack and Coke, and I was like, oh my god. This isn't
no,
worth
it wasn't even good drunk. That's not good. So here's the weird conundrum that this movie has. It has to be at least as good, if not better, than the rest of the Fast and Furious movies.
It's not.
But people love it.
Yeah.
And
People love the other ones too. I don't know. I consider it a dumb franchise.
To be you've seen 2 of the
yeah, you
movies,
gotta see
dude.
'em
I'm
all.
sorry.
And they were both dumb. Like Fast 5 was
Watch
fun
them.
dumb.
You have to experience
Well,
it.
I'm not
It's like
gonna watch
no, bitch. It's like trying to jump into like a series
call
in
him
the.
a bitch.
It's like trying to jump into a series.
No, bitch. You gotta
like
see this.
like 8 episodes in. It's like
Not if I start with
it
the
doesn't
second
work
one.
as much. Start with the first.
Second one's
No.
not good.
This is one of those franchises that would have died a long time ago if not for the global market.
Are
The
you
global market
serious?
supports stupid
No.
movies.
So you're basing that on the 2 movies you saw? The 2 out of 9.
Yeah, if you
that
don't
you
like
saw.
2 out of 9 movies,
And that's
why
actually
would you
not
watch
true.
the rest of them?
Oh,
The
in
domestic-
what country
the
does
domestic
that?
take is
3 out of
huge.
9.
What country does that math make sense? Even in America, that math is like ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. 2 out of 9 on no part of the planet is a majority. You cannot base an entire
No,
franchise
but like
on 2
you've seen
movies.
enough of a franchise to be like, I
Fine,
don't need
Star
to see
Wars
any
is
more.
bullshit because of the 15 minutes I saw a Solo.
There you go.
Oh, that's a good one. You shut the fuck up. No, I'm kidding.
So, one thing I do want to say for people who are listening, yes, we are hating on this, and I feel like we are definitely in the minority here. I just want to make it clear. When I reviewed Fate of the Furious, I gave that shit like an A or an A+. So I can get on board with dumb action movies very easily. But this was it just didn't work on many levels.
I love that you have to throw that out there.
I do.
Show your bona fides.
I do.
Like,
I have
hey,
to make
listen, I like dumb shit. All right, I have given A+ marks to dumb shit.
Yeah.
This is just too much.
Yeah.
Yes, same. Well, same. Well, like as Tanya just said, I love Solo, so I also love dumb shit.
Right.
But I really wanted to like it more than this.
Oh, I
would've
wanted
seen
to love
this
it, yeah.
Without the podcast,
I felt-
was down for this one.
I felt myself fighting my instincts while in the movie. With each cringe line or each stupid moment, I was just like, no, this is okay. I'm like that dog in that one meme, the fire thing. Like, no, this is okay.
Oh,
Except-
everything's fine.
No, everything's fine, except it wasn't. I was lying to myself, and then by 2/3 of the movie, I was just like, nah, this isn't good. This is not good.
So I've got a question. Do you guys have any other thoughts on the movies? On this
Was
movie?
dope, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
think
he
they
was
did
fun.
They
It's
did
a
an
really
okay
good
job
villain.
of doing pretty decent motivations for him, as well as sort of tying him to Statham's character. Like I said, they had all of the right pieces. They just didn't put them together correctly.
Ooh, one quick question then before we move on, since I haven't seen any of the movies. This organization's brand new for this movie, right?
Yes.
The evil
Yeah,
robot
presumably-
organization.
we don't
I felt
know.
Like something they added
Assuming.
for this. Okay, cool.
I just love the fact that this started off with underground street racing. This whole
Yeah.
series, like it's just we've come so far.
And they used the Nas at the end or whatever.
You can't
right? That
say,
was
oh,
cool.
yeah,
okay.
you've never seen the movie.
I actually
No, I was going to ask about the Nas
Yes,
stuff.
so
Do they use that in every movie? Because
Yes.
I remember it being a staple. And
Yes.
I'm like, oh, they use it at the moment of need. Kind of
Yes.
like a movie
I
running
actually-
through the races.
I liked that. Even though the
did
whole
too.
scene was stupid, I liked the idea of the fact that they actually went back to
Brought
the
it
Nos
back.
thing at the very end. Like it was, I liked it.
In a McLaren. It seems so ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. They're like hitching onto each other. Okay, to paint the scene for Tanya, they were trying to take down the helicopter, so they hooked the helicopter, except that the helicopter
one
started
truck.
to pick them up. So a car went in front of the other car, they hooked to the other car, and then they started to lift both of them up. So then another car went in front of that one, and they hooked in front of that
All the
one.
Rock's brothers.
Yeah, there's like 4 of them that the helicopter was lifting up. I don't know what helicopter they were using
But
that
that
could lift
doesn't
4
work
armored
because The
huge
Rock
vehicles.
still has to hold it down with his bare hands.
To be fair, he did it less long than Captain America. It was just to reconnect it, but it was still so silly.
Yeah,
It was long enough that his arms would have been dislocated.
Oh yeah, no, and I also
and
thought
pulled
like,
out and like.
one part of these trucks would have broken off. It's like Jammer
Also,
said it felt more
the
weighted and
helicopter.
real than the other ones, but there's a helicopter lifting 5 fucking cars.
Yeah, the
How does that
helicopter should have
feel
been crashed. Okay, I'm talking
realistic
about
and
the way
weighted?
they feel, like the visual effects, how they feel, not necessarily whether or not they make sense.
Yeah. I think the other thing that I think killed this movie is that there are no stakes, and it's kind of the thing
Yeah.
I'm going to roll into now. But I don't know. Well, you haven't seen it, but Jammer, you remember in the 7th one when The Rock fights Statham for the first time, and he goes out the window to save his partner, and that breaks his arm. You remember that?
Yeah.
I remember the broken arm from the trailer.
Okay. Shh. Quiet.
So
Nick.
he's got his arm broken. He's out for the entire movie, right? There's a scene in the trailer, so Tanya, you haven't seen it, but there's a scene in the trailer in this movie when he jumps out of a window and falls way farther than he did in Fast 7 and just pops back up like a goddamn daisy and starts fighting again. which I thought was an interesting evolution for this character where, before a fall like that breaks his arm, and then this time he's just like, no, ready to go again. I guess the question that I have is, and this is for everyone, did you all see the story that came out about there are clauses in Diesel's contract, The Rock's contract, and Statham's contract that basically say they have to give as good as they get, and they can't
really
be
hurt
lose
over
fights. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up earlier because Terry Crews had a funny Twitter post where he's like, I was shot in The Expendables by this guy, I was crippled in this movie. And he was kind of like, fuck these candy asses.
Yeah. Tanya, did you see this? Do you know what we're talking about?
I do not.
Okay.
They
So
cannot
apparently...
lose a fight or whatever, right? Too much.
Yeah, so here's
too
an
many
example
hits.
of how bad it gets. Vin Diesel has his sister on set counting the number of punches that he's taken.
Jesus.
So that he can make sure that he dishes out an equal number of punches so that he doesn't come across as having been beaten up too badly.
Candy ass.
Because it's definitely number of punches that wins a fight.
Yep.
It's mathematical. Like, I can beat him up if I just punch him one more time than he punches me.
Yeah. So Jammer and I talked about it. I was just curious what, if anything, you all, Nick and Tanya, thought about that. What are your
By the way, to
opinions
hear
about it?
that
'Cause that's not limited
conversation, go to Los Fanboys, the last episode of Los Fanboys. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
Oh, yeah.
Good plug.
Oh, what do we think? I thought it was silly. I mean, actually, it reminds me of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Where, because the way you guys just described it about giving out as many punches as they get hit, they don't want to be the big heavy, as Pacino's character talks about, where it's like, oh, this week you get beaten up by this guy. Like, this movie you get beaten up by this guy. This movie you get beaten up by this guy. It feels like a part of their contract that's trying to, like, preserve the part where it's like, oh, yeah, The Rock always beats everybody.
Yeah, they want to make sure that they don't become the guy who, in the minds of the viewers, becomes the punching bag. Like I mentioned, Sean Bean. You bring Sean Bean in, people expect him to die. So they don't want that to happen to them, or they don't want to be eventually shoehorned into a role where they're always the guy who gets, their shit rocked.
But he has the most kick-ass, iconic dead guy characters in the history of nerddom. Like,
that's true.
Nobody thinks he's a pussy. Everybody thinks he's like that Sean Bean. He's
such a pussy. He couldn't take he's such a pussy. He couldn't take a sword to the neck.
The entire basis for Game of Thrones and everything around it.
So Tanya, to that point, I guess the way that I looked at it and what I didn't say to Jammer last night when we did the podcast was the fact that what if a clause like this existed in Schwarzenegger's contract? Would we get the Terminator? Would we get the second Terminator? Name any iconic movie where somebody just gets beat down and they either have to come back or they die. And it feels like, now knowing this, I feel like there are no stakes for any of these movies going forward, at least when those people are on screen.
Because even like Dark Knight Rises, Batman gets broken. Or like, even Mission Impossible, like, I love bringing that up. Tom Cruise gets the shit beaten out of him sometimes, and then has to come back in other scenes. Or
Wait a second.
In the scene.
Have you seen Mission Impossible? Do you like that series? It's pretty good. You should check it out.
I've heard of it.
How many of them have you seen? Because now your opinion is starting to be sketchy about
How many are there? Because I think I've seen more than there are.
So you've seen the TV show?
No, I've just seen the 7.
So to me, it seems like they were trying to. That sounds like a thing like they were trying to fix a problem, and then all of their solutions just got super unwieldy to the point that they morphed into this like monster of a thing that like what? You know what I mean? Like I can't imagine somebody just came up with that idea. I feel like that was something happened on set, and they needed to somebody was about to get shoehorned into a character that they really didn't like, and this just turned into like.
I can imagine it's just escalation where it's like Vin Diesel, he's like, sees The Rock, he's like, I am threatened by The Rock. Make sure that I don't get beaten up as bad as him. And The Rock's like, oh, he's doing that? Okay, well, we'll do that there. And then Statham's like, oh, you guys can do that? Okay, let's do that for mine too.
That's a thing we can do.
Out of Fast 5, yeah.
I don't even think it developed out of Fast 5 because I don't know if you all remember, there was a big deal in 8. 8 was the one where it seemed like The Rock and Vin Diesel really were going to go at it because they don't even really have that many scenes together, if any. One of them is fake, and in another one you can't even see them, even though they're supposed to be together. You can't see the other person in the frame, and I think they use doubles.
Yeah, I think they were together. They hate each other.
And I heard on one of those scenes, so one of them, The Rock is supposed to be laying down. They changed it so that he was sitting up as opposed to be laying down at Vin Diesel's feet. Like, that's how petty we've gotten.
Yeah.
Well, I came out of Fast 5 because that's one where they do fight, and maybe one of them watched it afterwards and was like, I took too much of an ass kicking, or maybe next time my ass will be kicked. And then they have a contract up.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I've actually seen it. So since Jammer and I talked about it, you can go online and see, like, you will see this pushback. And I think you're right, Nick. Some of it started in 5. So there's like one person gets pushed into a wall, then another person gets pushed into a wall. And it just goes back and forth like that. And I mean, I think Vin Diesel obviously won that fight, but going forward.
By the way, you brought up Terminator. I thought that was fun. I just imagined in my head where if they had those contracts in, I imagine Terminator 2, Arnold Schwarzenegger getting lowered into the lava, and then the lava just not doing anything to him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Better movie. I'm scared.
So does that mean
It would have been a better movie.
I'm curious the extent of these clauses. Like, has The Rock ever died in a movie?
No.
He
I know
probably
The
died
Rock
in
is
Doom.
Scorpion King. I mean, the Mummy Returns.
Oh, you're right. The Mummy Returns. Does that count?
I don't even know if that counts. That's not even.
That was
that's
CGI
like a
Rock to me.
Yeah, horrible CG version of him. Like, at that point, it's not even him anymore.
Wasn't he in like
He's
a
just a
video
monster.
game movie early on? Like, was he in Mortal Kombat?
Doom. He was in
I said
Doom.
Doom. Does he
Yeah.
die in Doom?
Yes.
Didn't see Doom.
That's
Really?
so early, though, too.
Yeah, that was
He was
before
in a
he had
Star Trek
power.
episode 2, I think. I don't remember if he died.
Was he?
Oh,
Was he in a
early.
Star Trek episode?
Pretty sure.
What? Like the Next
Like every
Generation
one?
or Voyager?
Was it? No, I think it was TNG. Maybe.
Okay.
All right, you guys talk. I'm gonna look this up.
Okay.
I like his fanny back picture from the 90s.
I don't remember if he died, though.
No, but I know
Johnson.
it's interesting. Okay, I can't talk if you're whispering.
I'm sorry.
So I forgot what I was gonna say now. Thanks, Dick.
Oh, he's in Voyager.
Oh, there you go.
Wow. That must have been very, very
What
early.
year was that?
19. I don't know. God damn it.
The Mummy Returns would have been 90s.
It was 2001. The Mummy Returns was
2001.
2001. Yeah. I know that because it was one of my first DVDs.
Voyager 6th season episode. Why? I don't want to know his birthday. Everything keeps trying to tell me when he was born.
When was he born?
The Rock was never born. He was created out of clay.
He was born in 1972.
He chipped
He's
off a mountain.
47.
So
He just fell off a mountain like a boulder, and then he
Yes,
was
exactly. That is.
The Rock.
And his kids are pebbles. That's how that fucking works.
That's good. I think that's an old joke from when we were kids.
with the pebbles.
Yeah, something like.
What do you
I
call
don't
The
know.
Rock's children?
Pebbles, yeah, probably.
Pebbles.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, there are a lot of cringeworthy moments. I'm just going back to the movie. I just thought about you bringing that up made me think about the whole the eyebrow that he raises back in WWE and stuff. And I'm like, I didn't feel like we needed that.
Don't need that.
About
Yeah.
Take it all out.
Yeah, that was.
It's all the
Bring
comedy.
intensity.
They could have taken out all the comedy from this movie, and it would have been
Not
fine.
all
would
of
have
it.
been
I think they
fine.
could have kept all the stuff from the trailers, and it would have been fine.
Yes, the trailers are funny.
Yeah, the trailers are really funny.
Were they?
And they were edited better in the trailer. Yeah, I think they were.
They weren't.
Because they took single lines from each scene, and you can make a funny trailer with, like, taking 15 lines from a 2.5-hour movie.
They were able to make the timing better with the cutting.
Why is
because
this
they cut
movie
it
so
faster.
long?
Yeah, how long is the movie?
2 hours
Like-
and 15 minutes.
Yeah, they could have made it an hour and 45 minutes, and it would have been better.
Yes. I am down with that.
Um,
I probably would have liked it if it was that long.
A 90-minute movie would have been great.
I don't know about 90 minutes. That's like a little.
No, but action
That's
movies used to be 90 minutes. That's one Breaking Geek, the written word I want to write soon is, why are movies so fucking long? Like,
true.
Endgame earned it, but, like, action, like Rush Hour and Rush Hour 2 are 90 minutes.
That's not.
Kids'
Those
movies
are
used
just
to be like
those are
88
comedies
minutes.
though. Those are like full-on comedies
Well,
with
they're
action.
action comedies.
I guess, yeah.
It's not like Other Guys. Like, they were real buddy cop movies. Like, when you look at a movie like The Other Guys, then it's a comedy and not an action movie.
I actually
So-
agree
You know
with
what's
you.
funny?
A movie that's not heavy on plot, where you need to develop a story like Avengers, like movies that earn it. If it's just visuals and action, or primarily visuals and action, don't point to the story because you're just basically showing me that there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, can I bring up two things? So one of them is
Yes.
relevant and one of them isn't. So remind me about the scientist later. But number two, I was confused by, you mentioned stakes earlier on, Brandon. I was confused by the stakes because I didn't understand the story at all. I didn't understand why they had to go to one place or another. I'm like, okay, what's over at this place? And how do they know, why are they following her at this place? Why is everyone here at this place? How come she decided to bust out of being locked down when she was about to get the stuff pulled from her? I'm like, why didn't she just wait and then break out? Or various other things. I was just confused and I was pretty confident I didn't understand what the fuck was going on plot-wise, but at the end of the day, I knew it really didn't matter. So I think that was a problem, is that I just didn't understand this stupid story. Does anyone else have that problem, or is that just me?
I think the one that you brought up, like why did she leave, that is the one that stuck out to me, but generally I could follow it. The one thing that I did think was weird was, why is this mysterious organization also in control of all of the media?
Yeah, that was weird.
Oh, they need
Which
to-
also reminds me, I had to get up and go to the bathroom at one point during the movie, which says a lot. I
Me
never
too.
get up and go to the bathroom. But there was a scene in the trailer where Idris Elba is on the screen, like in downtown London, I think, or something like that, talking.
Or like Bring Me Hobbs and Shaw or some crap like that.
Yeah, do you guys remember that from the trailer?
I don't,
Vaguely.
but I don't believe it in the movie either. I don't think it was in the movie.
It's not in the movie.
Yeah. Well, you went to the bathroom, so maybe. I'm here to
To the
confirm.
best of my knowledge,
Yeah.
I think I went to the bathroom when they decided they needed to go to Samoa.
Mhm.
Like, we need to go to Samoa. This thing is broken. This new device is broken, and let's take it to a mechanic. It's the only guy I know that can fix this.
He makes
Yeah.
cars.
It was
But he
stupid.
has a 3D printer.
Jesus Christ.
So the scientist.
Scientist.
Yeah, the scientist.
So,
Yeah.
so first of all, Vanessa Kirby left him. That was an awful move. That was mean. First of all, because he like saved their asses. Secondly, did his neck snap weirdly? Like, was there no cracking sound when he got his neck snapped?
I thought that was weird too. Not one sound effect.
Yeah, it was like it went.
Like normally,
It was like it was like everything went silent when he did it, but it wasn't like artistic. It was more like it didn't render properly and the sound effect was missing.
Like somebody forgot to drop it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just weird.
Yeah.
He twisted his neck and it didn't do that. That was the problem.
Yeah.
They didn't make the
I
snapping
thought for a
sound.
moment, I'm like, maybe they're doing it to like show that for Idris Elba it's nothing because he is like Superman, but at the same time you want to like punctuate that moment with like a big old noise.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just makes the movement, and then it's like they forgot to do the ADR or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot to do the Foley for it. It was
Yeah,
literally
Foley.
just the something that was missing there. Like it was
Like-
really distracting.
Like a movie I would have made in high school or something. Where it's like, oh well, it looks good enough on screen.
Yeah.
Don't need a sound effect.
Did you experience that, Brandon? Did you notice that?
I didn't notice that. What I was noticing while that was going on is the first thing that you brought up is like, why are they leaving him?
Yeah. Yeah, they
'Cause
left
if anybody
him
could
because
fix
he
it,
saved
he
them.
probably could.
Right, he
could
saved
probably
them.
Fix the machine.
He saved them. Like I thought they'd at least
Yeah.
try to save him, and then maybe he would die, and then that would be sort of the end of the second act loss. But they didn't even acknowledge that he existed
didn't do that,
after
no.
after he saved their asses. After he had he basically saved Vanessa Kirby's character, and they just
Everybody make it. Everybody good.
Yeah.
All right, let's go Samoa.
Such a weird actor to have in that role too.
Oh, the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a British actor. He's like in World's End.
He's in a
and
ton of stuff.
Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, he's in lots of stuff. But he's just such a weird choice for a Russian scientist. But whatever.
Yeah.
It's neither here nor there.
Oh God, what a bad movie.
Yeah. If
Yeah,
I
I
were to
was
give
really
you were to give it
disappointed.
a letter grade, what would you guys give it?
C minus.
I could live with that.
I was wavering between a C minus and a D plus.
The only reason I didn't give it a D plus is because I think it was competently made. I feel like when it's a D, like you just threw some shit on screen. This had structure, and to your point, like this had the skeletons of a good movie. I could see where this would have been a good movie had they edited some stuff out. It was a lot of editing to me because the story was serviceable. It's the same generic ass plot that you had, like Nick brought up and like Tanya said, like in Mission Impossible. So had someone edited it better, it would have been a better movie. But it had so much weight to it that it wasn't good. So
And it made an effort to grow both the characters. Like, they both grew with their
Yeah.
family, respectively. I was like, okay, I like the fact that they tried to do that. It didn't work, but they at least acknowledged that would have been, the good thing to do story-wise.
Yep.
Oh, when you said weight, you meant dead weight, not like gravitas, right?
Yeah. Yes. Just. Yes. I'm sorry.
I will say,
that point.
gravitas is not a word that I
Thank
would
you.
ever use related to this movie in any way, shape, or form.
But dead weight, definitely.
Yes, dead weight,
Yeah.
definitely.
Which is so weird. Like, I would not expect. I am surprised. I'm very surprised.
Yeah, when
I
you mentioned
thought-
that you didn't like this movie, I was going into it just thinking, like, there's no way I'm not going to at least think this is dumb fun. Like, maybe he just doesn't
what I
like the
thought,
Fast
too.
and Furious stuff. And then...
What? We
I don't-
talked about this.
I don't remember conversations, Brandon. When are you going to learn?
Not even a
That was for your
conversation.
own
Just
podcast,
remember the first article that I wrote for LRM was like a 5-10 page article about the Fast and Furious franchise.
Oh, yeah, it was. Justice for Han and
Yeah.
all that shit. Okay, fair enough. I forgot. See?
Brought that up earlier in the podcast. For
I
Christ's
did.
sake.
I was gonna say. You know what?
You mentioned, but now that I remember. Yeah, okay.
Sorry, we're gonna get you Alzheimer's treated.
Yeah, it's all right. Whatever. Anyway, my point is, I was getting ready to be contradictory to you because that's what I do. But then once I watched the movie, I was like, nah, I just can't. Like, he's right. This is 100% a shit movie.
You can't, in good conscience, troll him about the.
Nope, I can't.
I'm glad to know
cannot.
you have
That's
a
what
limit.
makes it really bad.
Because Jammer's favorite movies are Last Jedi, Batman v Superman, and Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh, God.
Suicide Squad. You forgot Suicide Squad.
Suicide
The other day
Squad.
he was defending Batman v Superman. On
I still
Netflix,
defend
so-
Batman v Superman.
I know.
is so
I know.
weird.
It's discussion for another time.
All right.
I also
So
like
weird.
it, but I wouldn't defend it.
I'm trying to think. Do I think this is better or worse than Batman v Superman?
It's worse. It's worse.
This is worse.
Easily.
I think even if you don't like Batman and Superman,
This is 100% worse.
But
It's
isn't there
only
a
like-
calculus based on your expectations versus what you receive? I feel like I just, by and large, had higher expectations for Batman
I did
movies.
too.
I don't feel like I
Yeah.
would go into Hobbs and Shaw.
Well, similar to that, I was more let down by Men in Black than by this, even though I liked Men in Black better than this because I actually expected something from Men in Black.
Right.
And this, I
I
was like, this will
expected
be
this to at
stupid
least
fun,
be-
but
I wanted this to at least be as good as the worst Fast and Furious movie, which was 2.
It is.
and it wasn't even that. It's not.
Yes, it is.
This is the worst
Tokyo
Fast and
Drift.
Furious
Tokyo
movie.
Drift had a scene where a high schooler, where they're like, "Oh, what are we racing for?" And then she pops out, "It's like me. The winner gets me."
Oh, wow.
And
How awful.
yeah.
But what year is
that's
that?
what the franchise is.
That was
That's like 20
2005.
years ago.
So then the worst Fast and Furious is a grade of C to you, Brandon? Did
No,
I understand
C-minus.
that correctly?
No,
This
but
one's
apart
C-minus.
from this one.
Right.
Oh, what would I give?
Your
So what would I
least
give?
favorite.
Tokyo Drift?
Yeah.
Or Too Fast, Too Furious, whichever one you
Whichever
think
one's
is the
your
worst.
least favorite.
Your least favorite apart from
What
this.
would I give? I would give Too Fast, Too Furious. Damn, I didn't come prepared to think about that.
No,
Too
I was
Fast,
just trying
Too
to
Furious.
understand the point you made that like you expected this to be at least as good as the worst one, and it wasn't. So up to this point, the worst one was a C.
I think that C+.
That's
Okay.
still not bad for like 8 movies. That the worst one is passing.
I mean, for me, the worst one is easily Tokyo Drift, and also I would give that one like I think that's incompetently made movie. To be honest, like a D or D minus, and mostly because this is weird, and I know this is weird, and whatever. The ADR is really bizarre. The sound mixing is really weird, where it seems like there's a complete lack of ambient sound in scenes where there should be ambient sound, and I just don't understand it.
Why does that bother you? That is such a weird thing. You've brought that up multiple
Film
times for
school.
multiple. Oh.
No, this is
okay.
before film. No, it wasn't. No, was it before?
Yeah.
No, yeah, it probably was. When did you go to film school?
2006.
Definitely before. Because you've referenced this with regard to Babylon 5. You're like,
Yeah.
why is this and why is this that?
Yeah.
No. That's a weird thing to notice.
It's funny because I remember when I saw Babylon 5 scenes, I was like, oh, this is like Tokyo Drift, where they have weird mixing in the back.
Wow. I bet that's never been put in those two things have never been put in a sentence together
They've never been linked before.
for any reason.
It's a
We're
first.
we're making history.
Always.
If we were able to link that in Star Trek based on one actor, I bet nobody from Babylon 5 has ever been in.
Maybe we should
Or
tease
vice
that in a
versa.
tweet. It's like, listen to this episode to see how we link Babylon 5 to Tokyo Drift.
And we reveal the Star Trek that Rock was on Star Trek.
There you go.
It's funny because as soon as I saw him, I remember that episode.
Yeah, that's for a Trekkie. That's common knowledge.
Yeah.
Was that even before? It wouldn't have been before wrestling, though. Would that just be when he was?
I think it
the
was
That's
when,
wild.
like,
That's during.
around when he was a wrestler.
Yeah.
His
That's
like
during.
first foray.
He was
into
some is he an important character? I like picture him in a red shirt, and I'm like, that's the most giant
No,
red shirt
no,
I've
no,
ever
no.
He
He was
seen.
was like
alien.
an alien
He was-
in a
yeah.
like a gladiator type thing or something.
And remember,
Oh, okay.
he used to
That
be
makes
normal
more sense.
human size before. Like he's gotten
Not
bigger.
when he was wrestling.
He
He's
got-
gotten even bigger since then. But
Yeah,
he
it's
was
called
big when he was a
steroids.
wrestler.
Yeah, he's gotten like because when he was in the 90s, like
called
he
movie
was
magic.
like a cut dude, but he wasn't like a tank.
So that means everybody in Samoa's on steroids. It's a big group
No,
of
no,
people.
no. Like, I say that so I'm kind of joking, but also kind of serious, because I look at his head size. If you look at his head in the 90s versus now, it's done the Barry Bonds thing, where his head has to be like 2 sizes bigger.
But his
Now?
stomach doesn't do that steroid punch, that muscle punch. That
It depends
steroid
on what you
guys
take.
do.
Depends on what you take.
He can afford the good stuff, Tanya.
The good shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think
I
it's
just think he's
just
Samoan. They're
being
just
that
big.
rich and that heritage, being that rich, and just having the base for it. Like, I mean, like when you're getting paid to work out most of the day, and you're also having all your meals curated, so like it's whatever.
I mean,
it's
to
like
be
chicken
fair-
and meat and stuff. Like you can get Chris Evans isn't as big as The Rock, but he's gigantic, and I'm sure he's not taking steroids.
Does anybody know how it actually works in Hollywood? Because I imagine it works like this, where you get hired for a role and you get paid a salary or stipend, and then from there it is up to you to coordinate the diet stuff and the training stuff and everything else stuff yourself, and to
Is
commit
that
to
the way
the role.
think it works, or do you know how
Yeah,
that's out?
that's the way I think it works. I'm not sure
I'm
though.
sure
Like,
they
maybe
pay
I'm
for
wrong.
your trainer and your.
Well, I mean, like, if you get paid, like, okay, The Rock, you're going to get paid $5 million for this role. It is up to you to make sure that you also meet these contractual obligations, and we're not going to pay
I
for
would
that.
guess
That
if
comes
you're
from
going to invest that much money in a person and you're like the producer or whatever, whoever's person's job is to do this, you're going to point them in the direction to say, go to this person and do this because I put a lot of money into you. You're not going to just leave it to some actor to do shit
Yeah.
on his own.
Okay, that's fair.
Well,
Yeah.
And I think The Rock's almost different than like a Marvel actor. Because The
Yeah.
Rock's going to be giant if The Rock isn't doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But like Chris Evans was not a giant guy, or Chris Hemsworth before, and I think
Yeah.
Marvel definitely hires the exact trainer they want to start, and they can kind of get a feel for all of it. Like they were talking about here on Breaking Geek last week with Bruce Lee, how Bruce Lee actually trained a lot of people. The studio hired him too.
Right. And Chris
I
Pratt
think-
complained about how like angry he was all the time because he wanted to eat and couldn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they turned Chris Pratt into a muscle-bound
Yeah.
guy. So there's obviously Hollywood and Disney or whoever has their people.
He's the only one who loves to complain about it.
But he hasn't really. I mean, you noticed, like, they
Hasn't maintained it.
he hasn't maintained it even in
But he hasn't gone
Endgame,
as
like
fast.
even in
To the
To
Infinity
the
War.
point where they had to make a joke about it. And
Yeah.
But that's not really his character to stay good looking. I'm pretty sure if he was like an Asgardian god or Captain America, they probably would have been more invested
Maybe,
in him
yeah.
doing it. He's just some space jerk.
Yeah,
He
that's
needed
fair.
to not be as gross as he was on Parks and Rec, and he did that.
Then why does
Aw.
Scott Lang still look ripped?
Because
Steve
Paul Rudd.
Paul
He was
Rudd,
on lockdown.
man, don't fuck with Paul Rudd. I know you fucking talk shit about Paul
ageless.
Rudd, but
I mean, his abs looked ridiculous in Ant-Man 1 and 2.
because fuck you, I'm
Just
Ant-Man.
locked it
I made Ant-Man sexy. Fuck you.
I guess he had nothing to do but work out in his house.
He was on house
but
arrest.
he's
What is
on
he
workout.
supposed to do?
Perfectly
He's in
stuff.
prison. He's an
Do some
inmate. That's an
sit-ups.
inmate workout.
So
Do you think he had to fight the ants on the yard?
Wait, what?
So do you think he had to fight the ants on the yard?
I hope
Work
so.
out?
And then, they lift twice their weight.
I want to see that Disney Plus series.
So, yeah, the long story short being, I don't think they depend on the discipline and work ethic of a person who's around a lot of drugs. I think they put them in the
Yeah.
direction of where they need to go.
It's a good point.
Well, we have certainly covered a lot of ground on this episode, haven't we? Anything else to say about HGH or Star Trek
So don't watch
or Chex Notes? What are we talking about?
Hobbs
Even
and
without
Shaw.
them, don't watch it.
Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, don't watch Hobbs and Shaw. Like, I mean, I don't. I feel
I
bad
think it would
almost
be
not
fine without sound.
I feel bad not recommending it simply because everyone else in the world seems to like it. A- cinema score? Are you kidding me? I'm just
Well,
baffled.
the cinema scores are always interesting because they're all from Friday night.
Yeah.
Who goes Friday night? The people who really love it.
I went
Like,
fucking
so
Friday
unless
night
it
because I
betrays
was
your
looking forward.
expectation.
Yeah, I'm there.
So,
I
like,
give
unless
Fate
it's
of the
Last
Furious an
Jedi,
A fucking
people get
plus.
Pissed off.
Jammer does
But,
not
like, most
believe me when
people-
I say a lot of reviews are straight up bought and a lot of advertisement is straight up propaganda. You do not. You think I'm cynical
I don't.
and mean,
Yeah.
but I really fucking think this shit. And I think there's a scam
Well-
behind all these billion-dollar movies. I know it's going to come out.
Because I think The only reason I would disagree with you, Tanya, is because I think that if it ever got found out, it would be devastating. And the thing that I compare it to is Warner Brothers did do that with a video game. They did it with, get to keep bringing up Shadow of Mordor. They were paying for advertisement, and I think it's hard to keep that quiet, to pay for those kinds of reviews. And eventually it comes out.
I mean, in some way, I think you do have a point where you have studios, you don't want to necessarily rail against a movie because that could, if you're just being a dick in review form, that could negatively affect your access and stuff. But
Exactly.
if you're giving reasonable criticism about a movie, I don't think that's a thing. That I don't think they don't directly pay for it, but I could see the idea where maybe when you're in the review,
coercion where if you
maybe,
blackball
yeah.
us, we'll blackball you. Yeah, that's
or
exactly
even
how Hollywood runs.
even if not even necessarily the implied coercion, but they butter you up. You go to a Disney situation and you have drinks or something, or they feed you well and then they have you see the movie or something like that, where it's like they put you in a good mood, they butter you up. And then that way maybe you're more likely to associate that movie with a pleasant experience that could taint it in some way. I can
Or
see
how about
that
this?
more.
We're socialized
Actually, I
where
had
if
a new
I
theory.
invite you to my home, and even if the food is bad, you're not going to tell me to my face the food is bad, and you're going to feel really uncomfortable.
The macaroni
No, but
soggy, the peas
I'm-
all mush, the chicken
But
tastes like wood.
I might write a review later online to share it with everyone and tell them how awful it was.
You might.
Well, here's
But if I have a really special house and you want to come back to it, you're probably going to think twice and soften it up a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good point.
On the
Actually, I
flip
have
side
a-
of that, I do remember, have we ever talked about Kane and Lynch and GameStop or GameSpot?
No?
So there was a video
I remember
game
that
called,
game in that magazine.
Yeah. So the first Kane and Lynch was advertising on GameSpot years and years ago. And one of the reviewers, Jeff Gersman, got on and did a review of that game and shit all over it. But imagine like our website, and so a bunch of the ads around this game or this review are Kane and Lynch. And so he got fired from GameSpot, and it was a big to do. So to that point about coercion, that's where it can go.
Yeah.
So
Well, here's a theory I came up with this week. I was going to ask Jammer about. A lot of movies seem to open to. I mean, the more reviews that come out, most movies drop, obviously, on Rotten Tomatoes or something. With the exception of a few Marvel movies and Mission Impossible Fallout. But,
Dude, have you seen anything between, like...
That's all I need! That's all I need!
It's a whole year.
But, it's been over a
If
year
not for the
now.
fact that I review things with you, I would assume you saw Fallout last year and the movie you're talking about right now.
No, but here's my theory. Fox posted his after a bunch were already out, and because we posted it when we were supposed to. But it seems like other sites either. I was like wondering, do other sites disobey, or do studios let the sites they think will give the best reviews put it out early?
That is a good
'Cause, like,
question.
Batman v Superman starts out like above 60 or whatever, and then it drops to like 20.
I mean, that thing
It
dropped
started out,
precipitously.
like above 80, and then it like dropped to like 60. So,
well,
like,
I
are
remember
they
when that movie
selecting
came
places
out,
they
people
think
were
will
walking
like
out
it?
of the screening. People were walking out of the screening talking
Yeah,
about it
but
was
it's
great.
still open to like the first reviews to come out were by comic people, comic websites, so it got a much higher review percentage with the first 40 than it did once
I will
real
say-
newspapers started reviewing.
I do think that Universal did not have faith in this movie, and I say that because it was, I think Thursday morning was our embargo.
That was a late.
Yeah, it was late, but everyone else broke it. So maybe you're right. Maybe they did say like, okay, well these people generally give us good reviews, so we'll maybe make their
Or they
embargo
usually
different.
like to pass- Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I just thought of it this week for the first time, because it seems to apply to a lot of movies where you're like, oh,
Yeah.
this movie that looked terrible is getting great, or I've been excited for is getting great reviews, and then when like the actual review embargo breaks, then suddenly it plummets.
Yeah, or
That
think
being
about
said,
it like this: A24 probably doesn't have the pull, but think about a mega monopoly, whatever corporation like Disney, and how much pull and reach they have, and how many people have a vested interest in not fucking over them. Think
So
about
as of
all
right
it
now, the audience score. Oh, it's not verified. Okay, never mind. We don't need that yet. But
What
yes,
were you gonna say?
I was going to say the audience score on Hobbs and Shaw is 90%. Oh, it is verified. Yeah, so verified audience score is 90%.
And it could also
based
be you guys
on-
have bad taste. And people
It's
just like
possible. No, you're right. Like, the thing is, we just have different tastes. Like, at the end of the day, people who wanted to see this movie may have gotten exactly what they wanted, and maybe we just wanted something more because we're stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So here's a question then. Jammer, is this better or worse than Venom?
Oh, it's worse.
Really?
Yeah, easily.
I think I outright hated Venom.
I still haven't seen it.
It's
You should
fine.
watch that.
It's fine. It's not. I can't even say it's
enjoyable for
good,
45
but it's
minutes in the
fine.
middle.
It's fine.
The bulk of it, Nick.
Not even the bulk of it. Maybe
Except
30
half
minutes
of
in
Act
the middle.
1, Act 2, and half of Act 3. It's like...
No, not even that. I said too much. Part of Act 2 is quite enjoyable.
Man, you know what? For as much as you like the Spider-Man movies, I would like to see what you thought about Venom, Tanya.
Yeah, you should
really
watch it. We
curious.
should talk about it.
That would be an interesting
That's when I tried to
experience.
burn a bridge. I got to
Yep.
write the backup review to Venom, and I gave it like an F- or something.
Wow. You
And I
kicked it out
didn't
of
really
school,
even
you
hate it that
expelled
much. I just wanted to like tear it apart because, again, it was not even as bad. It was an expectation. Oh, I knew it was gonna be bad, but it was an expectation thing as far as Men in Black International, where the trailers look bad, but you're like, well, this is one of my favorite franchises / characters. So you hate it even more than it is bad because you're like, they fucking ruined Venom a second time.
Yo.
Like, but I don't hate it F-, and I don't love it 3000. But
That was good, Nick. That was your best joke. I think we'd end it there because I don't think it's going to get any better than that.
It's not going to get better.
Yep, Costanza, leaving on a high
I'm
note.
going home.
Cut the check. We're all done here.
Done. But yeah, as far as if you actually listen to this podcast and somehow you have, if you liked this
Missed the
movie,
point.
if you liked this movie and have gone this far in this podcast without, turning us off, we're not judging you for liking this movie. Clearly, we're in the minority here
I am.
and are just wrong.
No. Don't lump me into your shit. I'm judging them.
All right. Like
All
what
right.
you like. Let you be you.
Yeah, I'm going to judge you silently though. But if you did like it, I would like to know what you all liked about it. So drop us a comment, leave something to let us know what it is you liked about it and how crazy wrong we are. About
I want
this
to find
movie.
someone who likes this movie as much as Nick likes Mission Impossible and
Fallout.
have a discussion with them. Yeah.
I would be down.
Oh God.
So
I
if
don't
that-
think that's
if
possible.
that's
At least
you.
I like a good movie.
If that's you, we want to hear from you.
Yeah, we sort of. Nick wants to hear from you.
I want to
Do a
hear
new
from you.
podcast.
I wouldn't mind
where
hearing
Nick
another
debates.
side of it from somebody who it wasn't bought by some sort of... Here's my tinfoil hat. Somebody who wasn't bought by a corporation to say that it was a good movie. Just an honest Joe Blow action guy, person who just likes big dumb action.
To be fair, you probably don't mean JoeBlow.com, right?
That's what I thought she meant.
No, I don't. That sounds like porn. Is that porn?
No, that's a very, very
No, it's a
big,
movie
high-profile entertainment website.
I got a job there.
How dare you
Long
take
time
such a
ago.
common phrase and use it for your website?
I
Yeah.
talked to Mr. Joe Blow himself when I got offered a job there, and this is a long time ago. But they pay you have to work certain hours, and they pay like $300 a quarter.
Interesting.
Is there a
Like,
movie
you- I
site
mean,
called
you
John
have to
Doe or
work,
Willy Nilly or Haphazard or Shenanigans? Like, fuck these people using
I
fucking
hope I'm going to start willy nilly.
There probably is something called shenanigans.
Shenanigans, yeah.
WillyNilly.com, I like that.
What's the name of the restaurant you like?
Shenanigans. You guys talking about shenanigans? What's the name of the restaurant you like with all the crazy shit on the walls? Talking about shenanigans.
I'm sorry, Jammer. This part's my fault.
That's okay. It's all because you said Joe Blow instead of Joe Schmo. There's no Joe Schmo site, right?
See?
Probably.
We don't know
I'm
now.
sure there is.
Because now just common, what do you call it? Idiot.
probably
goes
a
there.
site
Common
for
phrases
everything.
are being used to
They're up for
as
grabs.
names. Yeah.
Well,
Alright.
all right. I think we can leave it there, right?
Yes.
I think we're
Right.
done. I think we've
Okay.
done some good in this world.
Have we? We haven't. The movie made $60 million. I don't think
All
we've
I can
done
say is
anything.
if I think I've been more entertained in this conversation than I was in Hobbs and Shaw, so I think so.
Oh, man.
Okay. Well, we're half as long, so that's good too. So,
Also, Universal, if you can get us an interview with The Rock, that would be much appreciated. We'd love to talk about him and how great Hobbs and Shaw was.
Yeah, right. Say that shit to his face. Tell him you think he's...
Vanessa Kirby. I talked to Vanessa Kirby.
You're not naturally
Yeah,
that
you'd be talking
big.
about Mission Impossible the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
I mean, so let's see. I think The Rock has actually. No, I won't talk about this now. We'll talk about it off air.
Yeah.
Off air. So, dear listener, if you like this show, LRM has a smorgasbord of shows for you to take a listen to on our website. Go take a look. We've got Los Fanboys, LRM Ranks It, LRM TV, The Comic Source, Nerdflix and Chill, LRM Mornings, and Geek Scholars. God
Hold on,
damn,
it's
that's a lot of podcasts.
LR Mornings.
What did I
LR
say?
morning.
LR Morning. You said LRM Mornings.
You did too, Jammer.
But the M in LRM doesn't mean morning. It's not like ATM machine. I don't get it.
That's a good point, but we were being cute with the title, so it's LR Mornings.
Gotcha.
I'm not going to say that. It's LRM Mornings and Geek Scholars. So enjoy all those. And we will have these shows on whatever your listening device thingy program is. So we've got Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher. And those handy dandy links will be in the show description. Tanya, where can the good people find you?
TANYA at LRMonline.com. That M is for media, not morning.
And Nick, where can you be found?
Twitter at LRM_Nick. If you want to tweet me, we're starting a new podcast, I hope, after this, where I will debate the Mission Impossible is better than whatever movie you want to bring onto the show. I'll always debate Fallout and bring on anything.
You're like that.
Who's
meme.
that jackass? Is that Crowder?
Meme. That fucking guy who's like, change my mind?
That's him.
Yeah.
Crowder.
I will
Yep,
participate
that's exactly
in
what I
that
was
if
thinking.
it means he has to fucking watch the shit we challenge him with. I will make him watch Superman. I will make him watch.
Yeah,
oh my
let's do
god, let's do this shit. I like that idea.
I think we have your first challenge.
So wait,
Not even
that's
my favorite movie, but
hold
I
on.
will do it.
That's a new series. That's basically a series where every week we challenge him with a new movie, and he tells us why Mission Impossible is better.
But you have to fucking watch the movie.
You have to watch the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, okay. Done.
Where'd you go?
The resolve is crumbled.
I also get to watch
Yeah,
Fallout
yeah,
every week then,
sure.
too, right?
Sure.
Perfect. Now it won't be so crazy when I do it.
The Jammer. Where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at JamTheWriter, and you can email me at joseph@lrmornings.com.
And you can find
Obviously, it's
me-
not LRMornings, it's lrmonline.com.
What?
It's LRMornings.com.
It's not.
And you can find me. God damn it. You
I
can
did not
find
mean
me
to break
at
you.
Sir
I'm sorry, I
Jonesy
broke
People
on
to a
Twitter.
Joblo website and they're gonna leave and never come back.
You're gonna go Joe Schmo. I'm right here. I'm on Breaking Geek. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening. Hasta lasagna.
Don't get on.
Bye
Back in
bye.
the fan.
Why did you bring it back to a freaking Mission Impossible reference, Brandon? That's your fault.
We always ended on that.
I always ended on that.